Alright guys, just want to quickly run through the answers to the work that we had there on, well, last week I suppose at this stage. So question 1 there, you're asked to list the substances as whether they're acidic, neutral or basic. So you have vinegar, which is acidic, and remember anything acidic has a pH of less than 7. Anything neutral has a pH such that less than 7, equal to 7, or greater than 7. Because it might possibly give you numbers, but they don't in this particular case. Water is neutral. Washing powder is basic. We kind of said that generally cleaning products tend to be basic substances. Lemon juice again, less than 7, so that's acidic. Toothpaste, kind of a cleaning product again, basic. And battery acid is acidic. Okay, so that's question 1. Then question 2, we have the female reproductive system. We're asked to put the parts A, B, and C to label them. So A is the vagina, B is the fallopian tube, and C is either uterus or womb. Part B then asks when name the part of the system which the eggs are produced. So that's obviously in the ovaries. So the ovaries is the answer there. And lastly then it says when the lining is building up. So in the first day 1 to maybe 5 or 7, the lining is breaking down. We call that menstruation or the period. And then from that point on until the end of the cycle, we're kind of building up. So the lining is building up from say 5 to 14 days. Okay, guys. Question 3 then. Identify the forces, kind of forces that hold the planets in orbit around the sun. So that's gravity. The gravitational pull of the sun is pulling the planets in around it. Name the galaxy where Earth is located. So we're in the Milky Way. And then how old is our solar system? So it's about 4.6 billion years old. So we're about halfway through our cycle because that's how long the sun has to survive, or basically all the fuel it had before it turned into a red giant. Question 4 then, why are microscopes needed to view cells? So obviously it's saying here cells are very small. We can't see them with the naked eye. Microscopes make the image larger so some of the detail can be seen than using the microscope itself. Obviously different microscopes have different strengths depending on the size of the lenses. Excuse me. Part B, it's asked you to label what C is. Now C is where you place your slide or whatever you're viewing. It's not a table, it's a stage. So make sure you say a stage. C then it says the part A. So the eyepiece lens is marked by 10 and the objective lens is marked by 20. That's A and B. So it's saying what's the magnification. So to work out the magnification is the combination of the two of them working together. And you multiply the two magnifications together. So it's 10 by 20. So that gives you 200. Okay. Then we go on to the last part then. It gives you the diagram there. It says write the name of any one part of the cell. So they give you cytoplasm, right, which is that stuff. You could have said cell membrane or maybe their nucleus. Any of those. Okay, guys. Question 5. Mad. So complete the table below, identifying the state of matter for each of the fuels. The states of matter is whether they're solids, liquids, or gases. So coal is obviously a solid, tightly packed together. Petrol is a liquid where the particles can slide over each other. And butane is the gas that you might have if you have those yellow barrels of gas for your cooker at home. It's a gas and the particles are away from each other. Okay. Drawing the diagrams then, you can see again, tightly packed together, space between them, a little bit of space, they can slide over each other, and then in butane, the atoms have lots of energy and they've loads of space between them. And then it says which of the fuels can be compressed. So butane, because it's a gas, because of all the space that's between them, they can be compressed into a tighter space. The space in liquids and gases, there isn't enough space to make the particles closer together. Question 6 then, it's one of these comprehensions. So name the native species of shrew. So the one is called the pygmy shrew in this case. How would you get the invasive species into Ireland? So basically somebody might have brought it as a pet, or maybe it was in a crate with food that got brought in. Could be anything, right? Any kind of relatively correct answer there will get to the marks. 2 organisms for which the 2 types of shrew are competing. So from the article there, they're competing for beetles and woodlice. And then explain, naming two different types of animals, why the greater white-toothed shrew may reduce biodiversity in Ireland. The biodiversity is kind of the amount of animals you have. So the greater white-toothed shrew may reduce biodiversity in Ireland as it is reducing the number of pygmy shrews and also the number of barn owls. So remember, the white-toothed shrew is kind of killing off the pygmy shrews and they're taking over, and also the barn owls feed on pygmy shrews but they don't feed on white-toothed shrews. So as a result, they're also losing a food supply, so therefore possibly they could be dying out as well. Question 7 then is on our water cycle. So it's asking you to fill the space on the diagram. So in the diagram then, I think these guys here, so this is snowing, could technically call it precipitation as well. That's precipitation here. Then you have melting of the ice caps. You have over here condensation. So I suppose we start at the start. I should go here. First thing is evaporation of the water vapor off the surface of the sea up into the air. That turns into clouds, which we call condensation. And then you have precipitation here. So that's rain. This one happens to be snow. And then you have your water landing or your snow landing on the ground. You have your seepage going through the ground. And then you have your runoff here through your rivers and streams back to the sea. And in some instances then you'll have some evaporation of like rivers and lakes, not naturally. And also then from trees you'll have transpiration as well. Okay, then on to part B. Part 1 then, or sorry, part B, sorry. They ask what, or to explain the following terms. So precipitation is this part here, where the condensed water vapor is given off as like rain or sleet or whatever else. And evaporation then is either evaporation from the sea, where it goes up into the atmosphere, or it evaporates off fresh water like rivers and lakes we mentioned already. Okay. Question 8 then is a question on physics, so density. So there are two identical school bags, one full of tissue paper, the other full of school books. Why does the bag of books feel heavier than the bag of tissue paper? Basically, the bag of books is a larger mass. So they're all in the same type of bag, but you're putting more mass into the same space. So therefore, it is going to feel heavier. Students measured the mass of 200 centimeters cubed of oil and obtained a value of 160 grams. Remember, they've given you the formula there that density is mass over volume. So it's mass over volume. So all you're putting in is the mass, 160 grams, over the volume, which is 200 grams. And you get 0.8 grams per centimeter cubed. You can write it like that, or you can go grams per centimeter cubed to the -3. Okay. They asked them to get the rectangular block, to get the volume of the rectangular, well, density. So again, density, you have to get mass over volume. You first look at the volume, so that's the length by width by height. So that's 30 meters cubed, remember it's in meters. They give you the mass in kilograms. So then it's density again is the mass over the volume. So it's 900 kilograms per meters cubed, which is fine as well. Remember, you can give density in grams per centimeters cubed, or you can give it in kilograms per meters cubed. And lastly then, they give us a piece of aluminium. They give the density is 2.7, and they give the mass is 540. So then your formula is mass density by volume. This question is asking you to calculate volume. So the volume is the mass divided by the density. Okay, so it's like one of those speed, distance, time triangles. So there is 540 divided by 2.7. So 200 centimeters cubed is the answer. Question 9 then, again, it's another comprehension. You will not, obviously this is a sample paper, so you're not really going to get 2 comprehensions. You probably get 1 comprehension, and normally it's the question 10, or it has been for the sample papers from the SEC anyway at least. So don't be thinking you want to get more than 1 of these, especially in section A. There's a possibility it might pop up in section B, but you're probably only going to get 1 of these comprehensions in section A. Anyways, question is what words do you describe students who use or are able to use digital devices well? So they're called tech savvy. What are people who lack critical engagement vulnerable to, according to the above article? So it says they're vulnerable to the influence of fake news and other online risks like bullying and so on. And then digital technology does more good than harm. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? Back up your opinion brief with a supporting example. Okay. Now within this, you're asked for an opinion. So an opinion means you may agree with the statement or you may disagree with the statement. It doesn't really matter what direction you go once you back it up with a supporting example that makes sense. Okay, so you might say digital technology is a good thing because, say, take in the current situation, I'm able to now talk to you guys at home, and I'm able to give you work and so on and so forth. That's good, right? Or you can link with your teachers, or you can talk to your friends, even though you have to social distance, you have to stay away from their houses, you're still able to talk to them. So that's a good thing of technology. You may then think back when we're back in school, technology can be a bad thing. It might distract you from your learning, or possibly it's leading to bullying in schools and mental health and so on and so forth. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what you say once you have a good supporting argument behind that. And question 10 then is on speed, distance, time, acceleration. So it says, fill in the missing words in the following sentence using one of the words below. So the velocity of an object. So velocity, remember, is the speed in which it is traveling. So speed is just how fast something is going. Velocity is how fast it's going in a particular direction. So the velocity of an object tells you the speed at which it is traveling and the direction in which it is traveling. So the answer to the first part is direction. Okay. Then you have the speed of the car that travels. So remember speed. So it's dad's silly triangle. So distance, speed, and time. If you want speed, it's distance. So here, distance over time. So in this case, it's 500 meters over 10 seconds. So 50 meters per second. So it could be like 50 meters per second. You can write it like that as well. Part C then. They're asking for time. So if they want time, it's distance divided by speed. So it's 900 divided by 25. So 36 seconds. And lastly then, calculate the distance traveled by a person running at 5 meters per second for 3 hours. Okay, so every second, 5 meters per second means they go 5 meters every second. So 5 meters for 3 hours every second would mean 5 meters by 60 seconds. So that would give us how far he'd go in a minute. And there are 60 minutes in an hour, so multiplied by 60 again. And we're talking 3 hours multiplied by 3. And that gives you 54,000 meters, which is 54 kilometers. Remember, there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. Okay, guys, so today's work will be to go back through these questions and make sure we have all the correct answers. What I'll do tomorrow morning then is, because we have a double class tomorrow morning, I'll pop up a new worksheet with some new questions. Okay, guys? Actually, not a worksheet, my bad. It will be a new following on for part C. So I'd imagine we'll be looking at section B and moving on there in the morning. Okay, guys, take care. Bye-bye.